Yeah, good morning all. I welcome all to the third session of Flutter Festival. So myself, I am Tamil Kannan, Flutter facilitator, GDSC SKCT. In the past sessions, we have been seeing what is Flutter and what are the Flutter widgets, how can we use those Flutter widgets in a Flutter application. All those things we have seen in the past two sessions. So in this session, we'll be covering what is a backend and how can we use a Firebase as a backend for Flutter, and some hands-on practical things. How can we add Firebase as a backend for Flutter? So this is what we are going to see today. So let's start. So first of all, what is the difference between front end and a back end? So the front end is the thing what user touches and uses in his device. Let's say for an example, Flutter widgets like text button or input text or sliders and whatever thing user sees and feels on his device comes under front end. So in the past sessions we have been discussing how can we create a front end, where backend is the data that the application stores in its storage. For example, let's take databases like SQL, MongoDB, and Firebase is also an solution for backend. So these all comes under a backend. So a complete professional application always has a completely powerful backend. So this is a difference between front end and a backend. So let me show you a graphical representation. So what is a front end and a backend is. So front end is the thing what client sees here on his device. Let's take a website. The user just sees the web page what he is using, and when he calls a request, it goes to server and backend server like database. It fetches a result from database and it shows to the client. So the main purpose of backend we are using now is to store data and process some request and send it to the front end, that is the user. So without a backend, an application cannot be said to be completed and made professional, right? So this is the main purpose of a backend. So as a backend for Flutter, we'll be using Firebase. So Firebase is a Google's proprietary technology. So we are using Firebase as a backend service. They provide a lot of services. Not only they provide storage service, they provide authentication service, storage, messaging, and security. They provide a lot of backend services all in a single place. So we are going to use Firebase as a backend service for Flutter applications today. So these are the Firebase applications, they are Firebase services they are providing to use. The first thing is authentication, Firebase Arb. So authentication provides options and services like we can add phone authentication. We use WhatsApp, right? While freshly installing WhatsApp, we'll be asked to enter our WhatsApp number. And after entering the WhatsApp number, we'll be receiving an one-time password. And after correctly verifying the one-time password, we'll be authenticated into the application. So those things, and in some other applications, we can see sign in with Google. If we simply press sign in with Google, let's take YouTube. If we press sign in, they will be showing a prompt of list of email, like list of Gmails you have, and if on pressing the email you required, you will be authenticated into that application. So all these services will be provided by Firebase itself. So not only phone number authentication and Gmail authentication, they also provide a number of options to authenticate into your application. So next comes the cloud functions. So let's take an example. You have an application. You need to build an application. So which has an option that it need to find you need to convert the image into a text. Let's take it's an OM optical character reader, OCR. So we are using Google Lens, right? In that Google Lens, when we're scanning a picture, it shows the text. Even we can able to copy the text in that picture. So these things can also be done using Firebase technology, like cloud functions. We need to if we need to send a request to the cloud, like a server, it process the request. Like you need to convert. For best example is, if you have a YouTube channel, you're uploading a video, you can see that scrolling over the bottom, it's processing HD video and processing SD video. So it will be, you are not converting, you are uploading a single video, you are just uploading a single source raw video. The video is processed into several qualities like 1080 pixels and 720 pixels and 360 and 240 and 144. So all those conversions take place in the server of YouTube. So those functions can also be implemented in Firebase using cloud functions. So that is cloud functions. So you can perform some operations in the cloud without depending on the user's device source. So the next comes is cloud Firestore. So the cloud Firestore, as I said, is a database platform. So it's a database where we can store the data, where we can store and retrieve data from the database server very faster and much easier. It is very easy to use. Unlike table rows, it's a proper traditional database. It has some other advanced techniques for easy retrieval and storing of data. So that is cloud Firestore. So next is cloud storage. Cloud storage, as the name says, we can able to know what cloud storage is. We can able to store images or any files on the cloud very easily, and you can let's take while uploading your profile photo in WhatsApp, after even uninstalling your WhatsApp, after freshly installing, you can see your profile photo has been fetched from their server. So those functionalities can also be implemented using Firebase cloud storage. So the next is hosting. So hosting, in the sense, there are a number of hosting providers in the web. Let's take Hostinger, Netlify, and lot of Google Cloud. There are a lot of hosting providers in the net. So we can also host our web applications in website in Firebase also. It provides a free solution for hosting your web applications to the users. So ML Kit. So ML stands for machine learning. So in ML Kit, you can train your applications by sending your image. Let's take Face App. So all those things are we can make all those applications like Face App by using ML Kit like solutions. So next is real-time database. So real-time database is a traditional thing. So it contains a row, column, like key and body like structure. So it is Cloud Firestore is an advanced version of real-time database. So the next thing is improve app quality is Crashlytics performance monitoring test lab. So Crashlytics is you have deployed your application to the app store or market. So in that, if you are after deploying, in some devices your application may crash or stop working. You need to know what is the reason for the application crashing in that user's device. So you can't reach the user there and ask the user why have this application crashed. You can't get the user's device and check whether what went wrong. But by using Crashlytics, you can simply monitor all those things. What is the reason for crash of the application, and what went wrong? Everything you can monitor by using Crashlytics. And performance monitoring, how efficient your application is performing in different devices, because we are having a number of devices in the market. So every device, every application, your application may perform differently in different platforms. So performance monitoring is mandatory. Test lab is you are simply uploading your application. It will be tested in various environment platforms, and the result will be sent to you. So analytics is, so next grow your application is, so analytics in the sense, so how many hours of time, how long your application is being used by the user, and whenever he is opening the application, let's take he is using your application in the daytime, he's using your applications this window for this much times. So you can analyze those things and provide some user specific data to the user. And predictions is there, like it is like an option which helps the user, which helps the developer to predict which is apt for the user. So this like let's take Flipkart. Every Flipkart homepage is not similar for all those users. So I may get some recommendations in the homepage. You may get some recommendations in the homepage. So all those things can be made using predictions. And cloud messaging. So cloud messaging is, let's take you are using a Zomato or Swiggy applications. You will be receiving some notifications, right? You will be receiving some notifications that there will be, even you are not opening the application on the day, you will be receiving that message that there is a food there is an offer, they will be prompting the user to open the application like any kind of way. So those can be achieved by, we need to engage the user in our application. So for that thing, we'll be using cloud messaging service for engaging the user's attention to your application. So next is in-app messaging. So in-app messaging is, I'll be giving example for each and every option. So the in-app messaging is while you are opening your Jio application, my Jio application, or Airtel, like payment application of every service providers, you will be showing a prompt that this offer is going now. For example, if you are opening Jio, my Jio application, you will be showing your DTH is there. There is an offer for this application. There is a new offer for your recharge. So they will be prompting your simple message. So you are giving an user, while you are giving a message to the user when the user opens your application. So those things can be achieved using in-app messaging. So remote config in the sense, so we'll be providing some user specific conditions. So if you are a paid user, you will be given some specific options, some specific features of your application. If you are not a paid user, you will be not given with the specific features. Like if you are using the applications in the wrong way, like you are trying to crash the application, I'm just making the application not work only for that particular user. So all those remote configurations can be done using remote config option. And Arb testing and dynamic links. So dynamic links is if you are clicking a link, let's take YouTube link. How do the computer knows that the link belongs to the YouTube application? The link may be different, right? There may be a link for a new link for some videos and another link for another video. So how the OS comes to know that this is a YouTube link, we need to open this link using YouTube application is by using dynamic links. So we are using dynamic links so that we are providing some user application specific URL redirecting to your application. Everything is to grow your application in an increasing way. So as I said, Cloud Firestore. Let me show you Cloud Firestore in practical. So how it looks like. So I think the screen is visible. So this is the Firebase console. So this is the simple Firebase console while creating a Firebase application, Firebase project. So for now I have created a GDSC SKCT as a Firebase project. So to create a Firebase project, we need to simply press add project and will be asked to enter the name of our project, which must be unique. Let's take GDSC, let's Flutter Fest. Let's take Flutter Fest. So this is a unique name of your project. So we can even customize this project. So the Flutter Fest has been taken. So let's keep Flutter Fest SKCT. And if I save, I have a custom name here. And if I press continue, I'll be asked for using Google Analytics option for our Firebase project. So Google Analytics is a free and unlimited analytics solution. So we'll be provided with Arb testing and crash free users and everything. So if I press continue, so I'll be asked to create an account, default account for Firebase. If I press that and create project, so that's it. We are good to go with the Firebase project. So that's it, our Firebase project has been created. So if I press continue, so my Firebase project has been opened. So Flutter Fest. So I'll be given three options, like four options. So the first thing is iOS applications for Apple and Android and web, and even Unity for game support also. So there is no support for Windows and Mac OS. So we'll be using web or Android. So for now, let me select web. If I press web, I'll be asked to enter my web application's name. So for simple use, let me use simple web app. And I have also given an option to host my application in this Firebase. So if I press this, I'll be asked to, there is no sites there. For now, simply I'm just registering my application. And after registering, I'll be given with these credentials. I need to copy these credentials and paste it in my project, and I'll be using these things. So I'll be showing that later. So that's it. Continue to console. That's it. Our project has been created for web. So if I press authentication, so this is the thing. So if I press get started. See, there are a lot number of options like Google, Facebook, Play Games, GitHub, Apple, Game Center, Microsoft, Twitter, Yahoo. So all these authentication providers, and like email or password or phone authentication, like phone, if you are using phone authentication, we'll be receiving an OTP from Firebase side. And after the user enters the correct OTP, he'll be allowed to use your application. He'll be authenticated successfully. After that, anonymous. So anonymous in the sense will not be collecting any user's data like email, password, or any phone number or anything from the user, but he will be provided with a credential. Like he'll be given with some user credential, and he'll be asked to log in to use our application. So all these things will be provided. So see, if I press Google, if I turn it on, so these are the credentials and support email ID. So if I press save, I'll be able to use Google's authentication. So simply sign in with Google. If I add sign in with Google button in my application and press OK, I'll be authenticated. So that's the thing. See, I have Firebase is not a completely free solution, but they have some free limits. So I can able to provide 100,000, like 10,000 limit, like 10,000 users can be authenticated using this applications like phone verification instances. So there are some limitations. So next is Firestore database. So Firestore database is which is an updated version of real-time database. So they will be asked to given give with two options like start in production mode and test mode. So the difference is, if you are using production mode, you need to make your user to authenticate to access your database, or else he will not be able to access your database. Even you are a application user, so you need to authenticate. So for now, let me use test mode. So the test mode is the timestamp, like 18 up from 18th of April, I will be able to access this application without any authentication. So after that, I will not be able to access this website, like access this database, and I need to change the rules. So in the cloud Firebase location, so where can we use our location? Let's keep it simple, like default. And if I press enable, I will be provided with a simple cloud Firestore database. So it is a free to use database, though it has some limitations. So it is free to use for a normal basic developer. Yeah, this is a simple starting screen of your Firebase like Firestore database. So you will be asked to provide a collection. So collection contains documents. So document contains the values. For example, let me take college as a collection. In that collection, I will be given a document ID. For example, the document ID is department. Let's take it as a department. So in that department, there are a lot number of fields. I can even add another collection department. I have a CSC department, IT department, mechanical department. A lot of departments are there in a college. So even I can add another collection, and I can able to make some changes, and I can add a field. For example, department like in charge, or if I add in charge and the names like anything like XYZ. So this is the thing. So this is very simple, right? So I have a collection and a document and a field, right? So this is a very simple Firebase database. So I can even customize the rules. So if a particular user is not, I don't need this particular user to access my database, I can even make some changes here, and I can be able to block that particular user, or I can monitor some invalid access, so unauthenticated access here. So if the user is not authenticated, I won't need to allow that user into my database. So you can see some limitations here. So I have you can see these limitations. So I need to make some thousands of requests at a time. So that is mandatory. So for a simple basic developer, so it is more than enough. So you can go with it. So next thing is real-time database. So the real-time database is it is same as like Firestore, but it is like Firestore is its advanced version. So for now, let me use test mode. See, I have a simple name here. This is our database URL. This is a simple URL of our database. So if I need to add some value like in charge and some value like XYZ, and I can add. So I can add some another value like count, like 100. So I can add any number of key and values. So even I can add some key under a key value. So this is a very simple real-time database. It also has some restrictions. So these much downloads and these much uploads are restricted. And next is storage. So this is Firebase cloud storage. So you will be provided with 1 GB of free storage here. Like you can provide with 1 GB of free storage. In this storage, you can upload your files and like users files in the sense if you are using an application for chatting application, you can upload your user's profile image here, and after even your user uninstalls your application, he may install it sometime later, right? After installing the application again, he will be able to download his image again, like WhatsApp does. So even if you uninstall WhatsApp, if you completely format your WhatsApp application and freshly install your application, you will be shown with the profile image what you have uploaded previously. So all those things can also be made with your application by using cloud storage. For example, let me show you a simple example. Let me upload our club's logo here. See, I have successfully uploaded the club's logo. So if I press this, see details like it is a PNG type, and the size of this image, and the name, and created uploaded names, and the file's location, and the download link is here. This is the access token. If I press this, I will be copied with the download download link. And if I go to the new tab and I paste the link, and if I press enter, and see I'll be showing that image, right? So this is the image what I have uploaded. So this is what the main use of Google's Firebase cloud storage. So it can be easily added to your application, so that you can engage the user with more user experience. So we need, the ultimate aim of our application is to make our user have a better experience while using our application. So that can be achieved by using Firebase and its services. So next comes is hosting. So Firebase provides a domain called web.app. So if you need that web.app, is a free solution, so free domain while using your I have a my project name .web.app, like Flutter SKCT.web.app. If I press this, there is nothing I have uploaded there, so I'm just showing site not found. So web.app is a domain provided by Google's Firebase. So another thing is firebaseab.com. So those two domains are provided by Google's Firebase, and we can even add our custom domain, like for example even my name Tamil Kannan.com, like whatever name you like your company's name, you can add even whatever you need. You can use Firebase as a hosting solution also in your application. Here we have an option for preview channels, like you can see Microsoft has launched a preview channel, and you can see preview channels, right? So you can even make your application preview channels, create your own preview channels without deploying it into your production channel, so by using this command. So this is the thing, and even you can add any number of sites to your Firebase application. If I press add another site, so I need to enter my site's ID, like my SKCT GDSC. So it is available. So this name is available, site ID is available. If I press add site, so I have another site, my SKCT GDSC.web.app. So this is a very simple and easy to use hosting solution that is provided by Firebase. So this is the thing. And next comes is functions. So Firebase Cloud Functions is a paid to use service. So we need to upgrade our project to paid solution, pay as you go plan, so that we can use this Cloud Functions. So the main function of Cloud Functions is, let me play this video. You can see what Cloud Function
has lots of responsibilities. For example, apps built on Firebase use its Authentication feature to sign in users, and they typically read and write data to its real-time database. They might also store files in the cloud using its scalable storage. These are all great features for building your app, but sometimes you can't put all your logic inside the app to run on the user's device. For example, prying eyes may try to reverse engineer and modify your app's code. Or maybe you need to change your app's behavior instantly, without publishing a new version that your users have to install. And sometimes it's best to have a single place where expensive work is performed. Traditionally, to solve these problems, you would deploy your private code to a backend server that you manage. The app would then use an API or library to communicate with that server and issue requests. However, with Cloud Functions for Firebase, you don't need to set up, maintain, and scale that backend to get its benefits. Instead, you can write and deploy code to our servers that automatically responds to events in your app. Did a user just log in for the first time? You can send them a welcome email with a function. Did that user insert a value into your real-time database? You can update it right away with a function. And did that user upload photos to your storage bucket? You can analyze, resize, and manipulate them all with a function. And finally, with a function, you can also send a message with Firebase Cloud Messaging to that user's friends so they can know what's happening right away. You can even create functions to build a web-based API for your data that anyone can use. You write your functions in JavaScript for the Node environment, and all it takes is one easy command line to deploy your functions for immediate use. With Cloud Functions, you can seamlessly integrate many features of Firebase to provide the backend services that your app requires to be fast, secure, and complete. And you can do it all without having to provision servers, tune them, upgrade them, and scale them up or down to meet your users' demand. We handle the maintenance and you write the code so you can quickly build apps without all the ops. To learn more about Cloud Functions and how you can use it to build out your Firebase app, check out the documentation right here. We can't wait.
So that is a simple video how cloud functions work. So to use cloud functions in our applications, we need to make a paid project, like a paid project in the sense we need to upgrade our project to the paid solution, so that we can able to use cloud functions. So the next is machine learning. So the machine learning is same as we know. Machine learning, we can provide some learning images like face app, so on those things. So it is also a paid solution. Machine learning is also a paid solution. Firebase provides solutions like text recognition. As I said, if you are uploading an image, you can able to extract the text from those images more precisely, and image labeling by sending an image while you are using your Google Photos. You can able to see what it shows. There is a dog, or there is a shoe, or there is what is available in that image can be will be shown in your Google Photos, right? Those can be achieved by image labeling of machine learning technique and face detection on object detection and tracking. While if you are developing an product application like Flipkart or Amazon, while the user is taking a photo, you can suggest the user that this product is available in our store and prompt the user to purchase those things. So that can be made by using ML machine learning technology, and even barcode scanning, language ID. Like if you are using your Google Translate, you can have an option called detect language. Even if you type any language, if you copy and paste any language, it will automatically detect what language is that. Even you don't know what the language is, you need to find what is the language. You can simply copy that word and paste in Google Translate. It automatically says it is a language. It is the name of the language, like English, Spanish, like whatever language there is, Tamil or whatever language it exists, it will automatically detect by simply pasting that word written in that language. And on-device translations, smart reply. Nowadays, each and every application has its own chat applications. Like even if you are using your Flipkart application, there is a AI powered chat window. If you start chatting it will reply to you, and if it can't, only it will transfer the call to the customer care people. And the next thing is landmark recognition. Like if you take a photo, it will show this is the place, this is what the place is, the name of the place, and everything. So all those things are machine learning. And even we can add some custom models in TensorFlow and AutoML. All those things we can add to machine learning. So this is what the machine learning is. So these all the things that helps us to build our application. Like authentication, first the user has installed your application, user is installing your application. After installing, you are requested to authenticate into your requesting user to authenticate into your application, either by using either by using phone number, email address, or any service providers. Or after authenticating, you are fetching the user's data from the cloud using Firestore database or real-time database. After that, you will be showing some images of the user, like profile image and those things what user saves in your cloud using storage. After those things, we will be hosting our site. At last, we'll be making some actions in the cloud, like functions in the cloud, and at last machine learning. These all comes under build. And after deploying an application, we need to monitor our application, right? So one of the main important step in developing an application is maintenance and testing. So in testing side, we can use Crashlytics for telling for what is happening in our user's device. So there is an explanatory video from Google. You can let me play this video. You can understand what exactly a Crashlytics is.
Stability issues can derail the success of even the best app.
So that is what Firebase Crashlytics is. So we'll be capturing all those bugs in our application by simply deploying our application to the client's platform environment. So we can able to monitor all those things by using Crashlytics. So next thing is performance. So performance is a user has various types of device. One user has a 4 GB RAM device, and another user has 6 and 8, and they may have a powerful processor in their device or some low-end processor. So we need our application to work in all those platforms with no issues. So it must work much faster in all the devices that it runs on. So how can we customize? We can't buy all those devices at our side, and we cannot test in all those devices. So by using Firebase performance monitoring option, we can able to monitor what performance issues is available in the user's device, and we can at the developer side we can make some changes to overcome those lagging issues happening in our application. So this is another video. Let me play this so that you can easily understand.
Symbol look familiar to you? And how about this screen right here? Waiting for things to load is part of everyone's mobile app experience, but it's never a good experience for your users. And how would you even know what that experience is? Your users are on a wide variety of devices, on a wide variety of networks, in a wide variety of locations all over the world. If you want to optimize the performance of your app, you need metrics that tell you exactly what's happening during the critical moments of your app's use. And you need that information to come directly from your users. Now, you can get it using Firebase Performance Monitoring. By integrating the SDK into your app, and without writing any code, your performance dashboard in the Firebase console will collect information about your app's performance as seen by your users. You'll get data about your app's startup time and details about its HTTP transactions. And using the provided API, you can instrument your app to measure those critical moments that you want to understand and improve. Then, in the dashboard, you can break down the data by country, device type, app version, and OS level. So try out the Firebase Performance Monitoring SDK at no cost for iOS and Android to gain insights into your user experience today. And to learn more about Firebase Performance Monitoring, check out the documentation right here.
So that is the main use of Firebase Performance monitoring option. So next is Test Lab. So the Test Lab is if I upload an APK of my developed application, it will be tested in various platforms, like various environments, and I will be given with some results. Like you can see that image depicted here. So my application can work on these two kind of devices, and it may have some issues with this device. So all these things can be overcome by by using Test Lab options. So let me play this Test Lab video so that we can understand easily what the Test Lab actually does is.
People love to use different mobile devices in different ways that suit their situation and lifestyle. Michael uses a phone to play games on the go, while Tony enjoys using a large tablet as he relaxes on the sofa. And Jen carries a small tablet in her purse for reading on the bus. But they all want to use your app on the devices they prefer. So you want to make sure they each have a great experience regardless of screen size, OS version, and the features of your app they use the most. It can be taxing to test each one of these situations so that all your users can be happy. We know that you'd rather not have to buy and store stacks of devices to test your app in all these circumstances. That's why we built Firebase Test Lab, to make it easy and affordable for you to test your app with a variety of devices and be sure it works great for all your users. Our device lab, hosted in the cloud, offers a variety of physical devices ready to test your app. The selection of devices is always growing, so your tests will stay current with the latest hardware and operating systems. The easiest way to use Firebase Test Lab is to run a robo-test. This is an intelligent, automated test that crawls your app to discover and exercise its features. You won't need to write any additional code to make use of a robo-test. For more advanced testing, you can also script the interactions with your app to simulate specific use cases and verify that everything works as expected. Test results include a detailed report for each device used, including screenshots, device logs, and any crashes that may have occurred during the test. This allows you to verify that your app is working correctly on the variety of devices and configurations you selected. It's easy to make Firebase Test Lab a part of your daily development routine, and we have multiple ways to help you test often and spot errors early. First, you can use the Firebase console to upload and test your app. There's also a command line interface for testing with continuous integration servers, so you can automatically test every build. During Android development, you can deploy your app directly to Firebase Test Lab using Android Studio. And finally, in the Play Store Developer Console, there is a special automated launch test that will run for Android apps published to an alpha or beta channel. To get started using Firebase Test Lab and learn how to regularly test your app on different devices and configurations, you can start with the documentation available right here.
So, and I think you have understand what Test Lab is. So by using Test Lab, we have a robot testing experience of our application, how it works, how our application responds to different environments. So testing is a main target of our application to make our application work on different platforms. So testing can easily be done using Test Lab, and it will be available in various forms. So the next is app distribution. So this is how we, after making all those changes and making our application stable after testing. So we'll be using app distribution to distribute our application. Here we have iOS and Android options to distribute our applications. So next comes is our analytics. So analytics is how our application works in different devices and their the logs and all those things. How long the user is remaining in your application, and all those things will be available in analytics of your Firebase database. So this is the dashboard of our Firebase analytics. In Firebase Analytics, we have real-time analytics solutions and custom events. So what custom events are? We can see in which countries and which places our application is being used a lot. and how long they are using. So first time, how many first time users are there, which screen are they using, which property they are using a lot. So with all these things, you can make your application more beneficiary for your user. If your user is more targeted in this future of your application, you can enhance that feature and make your application more helpful for those users. So next is engage is, so ARB testing. So what is ARB testing is, so this is also a kind of testing. So let me show this video how this ARB testing actually works.
As app developers, you make thousands of decisions that can affect the success of your app. Everything from the placement of a button, to the notifications you're sending, to your onboarding flow. But it's hard to know whether you're making the right decisions. Sure, you can ask your friends, family, or focus groups, but often the best way to find out these answers is to run an A/B test and let the data speak for itself. It turns out, though, A/B testing, it's a little like flossing. We all know we should be doing it, but not all of us are. And that's because the work involved to set up, run, and analyze the results of any individual experiment can be time-consuming. But with Firebase A/B testing, we take care of all the hard work for you, so you can run product and engagement campaign experiments with ease. Firebase A/B testing runs on top of remote config, cloud messaging, and analytics to test and measure just about anything in your app. If you can define it in a variable, you can probably A/B test it. To create an experiment, just head over to the Firebase console. You decide what users you're going to target. Maybe it's a small portion of your global audience, or maybe it's those who speak Korean, or maybe it's users who Firebase Predictions thinks will spend money in your app. You decide what elements of your app you'd like to change and what kinds of results you're looking to optimize, whether that's increasing ad revenue, retention, or some custom metric like users sharing the app with their friends. Firebase A/B testing takes it from there. We'll split your audience up into different groups for each of your variants and make sure they're seeing the right version of your app. Then we analyze the data you get back using some sophisticated Bayesian statistics, so you can be confident the results you're seeing are due to changes you made in your app and not just random chance. Once A/B testing has determined a winner, you can roll out those app changes to the rest of your audience or send the winning notification to the rest of your users. And all this can be done directly through the Firebase console. So once you've gotten your app set up with Firebase, your growth team can create any experiment they'd like without taking time away from the engineering team. So why not give A/B testing a try today? You can find all our documentation in the link below and get started making your app better, one experiment at a time.
Firebase makes sending messages to your users easy with Firebase Cloud Messaging. It's a free service that allows you to send messages to your users' apps across a variety of platforms. Messages can be addressed to single devices, groups of devices, or even topics. Building a notifications or messaging system with Firebase Cloud Messaging is easy. First, you register your user's app instance with the Firebase Cloud Messaging servers. Then, on your server, you write code that allows you to address these devices by ID, group, or topic, and which tells the Firebase Cloud Messaging server to send the messages for you. It's powerful, it's scalable, delivering hundreds of billions of messages per day, with 95% of messages being delivered within 250 milliseconds to connected devices across many different platforms. It's that easy, it's that powerful. Firebase Cloud Messaging.
So and this is what cloud messaging is. So we can just click send a new message, and we have a title. Let's take GDSC Flutter Festival, and I can have some notification text like text session 3, and even I can upload my image, upload the URL of my image. And if I press send message, you can see this is a sample notification how this message will be working in your user's device. Like on expanding this message, you can see how it looks like. And after that we can schedule our application to which application we need to send, and when we need to send. Like tomorrow is for example, if tomorrow is Holi, so if we press schedule to the next day, it will automatically send the message to the users that happy Holi, or any functions. Like you can engage the user to that current situation, what it happens. And conversion events is, so when the user, like for example, when the user has installed your application for the first time, you need to send a message that welcome to our application. So at the time you can select on user open, or on purchased, on he purchased some events. Like if he purchased some in-app purchases in your application, you can add that thing also in that. You can specify some additional parameters. These all comes under your developer side. So, and if you click review, and if you publish, those all messages will be sent to the user's notification. And if he press that notification, it opens your application, and you can engage the user as how you want. So, and the next is in-app messaging. So without before starting, let me show you what in-app messaging actually is.
Communicate with users once they're in your app. Sure, it's not so hard to display a pop-up dialog in your app. But what if you want to customize that message for certain users? Or figure out which of these messages are most effective in driving the desired behavior? Or your marketing people want to change the creative? Creating meaningful messages in your app quickly goes from a couple of lines of code to a major headache. Now with Firebase, you can easily send messages to people while they are actively using your app to encourage them to complete key in-app actions. You can use these messages to guide people through your app, send promotions, or ensure they see important updates. Firebase in-app messaging makes it easy to set up and run in-app messaging campaigns. You have the power to target messages to specific audiences, trigger messages based on user behavior, and tailor the design of the message to suit user interests and your brand. Whether you want to set up recurring campaigns or send a one-time alert, Firebase in-app messaging supports a variety of use cases. For example, you may want to encourage users to make a purchase in your app. You can trigger an in-app message to appear, offering a deal when they add an item to their cart. Then in the Firebase console, you can see if the offer paid off. Or you may want your users to check out a new feature, invite a friend to use the app, or subscribe to a service. Firebase in-app messaging makes it easy to set up all of these campaigns to meet your app's goals, which means members of your marketing team can customize the look and behavior of any campaign without getting your engineers involved. From the console, you can choose the messaging layout, background and text colors, and an optional image to accompany your message, so messages feel like a natural extension of your app. You can see a preview of your message in the console, so you know exactly what your users will see. And you can choose who will see your message. Select audiences for message targeting with just a few clicks. Once your campaign is live, you can track daily messaging impressions, clicks, and conversion events. Then, you can tweak your campaigns to maximize results. Firebase in-app messaging is a great way to deepen engagement with active users, increase session time, spur conversions, and ultimately, grow your revenue.
So as the video says, that is the thing. So after the user opens your application, he can see some engagement messages, like maybe definite for every user. So you can source some custom images to your user by using in-app messaging. So on remote config is, so we'll be configuring each device, options in each device, like how to say, if an user has some options, he may be a paid user, he may have some benefits, features. You can enable those things from your side. If you have an bug in your application while opening that particular feature, your app may crash. You need to work on it. After working, you need to publish that. Until then, your user, you don't want the user to use that application. You can use remote config to block that particular user, like particular feature, so that the user, you can fix that bug, and you can make an update also by using remote config. So this is a sample video that how remote configuration works.
So, there's more to having an app succeed than just building a great app. You want your app to be dynamic and responsive by delivering fresh content to users and quickly reacting to their changing needs. You want to test out major decisions to make sure you're doing the right thing before you push them to your entire audience. And ideally, you want to provide a tailored experience for each user, so your VIPs feel like, well, VIPs. But let's be honest, that can be a lot of work. And if you're a developer without a ton of resources, that's time you'd rather spend on other things, like building your app. That's where Firebase Remote Config comes in. Firebase Remote Config is a simple key value store that lives in the cloud. But don't let that simplicity fool you. Because it lives in the cloud, it means you're able to deploy changes that your app can read within a matter of minutes. For instance, say you've just pushed your app out to the world and you suddenly discover that your Swedish text contains some offensive language. How are you supposed to know? You don't speak Swedish. I don't blame you. But fixing that text the old-fashioned way would mean creating a new build and going through the entire publishing process again. That's something that could take days, which is an awfully long time to have 9.2 million people cursing your name. But if your app uses Firebase Remote Config, you could change that text in the cloud through the Firebase console. Kind of like this. The next time your users fire up their app, Remote Config will grab the latest values, update your app's text, and just like that, you've averted a major international crisis. Or, let's say you've got a puzzle game and you're hearing complaints from your players that level 5 is too hard. If you've configured your app using Remote Config, you could tweak those settings to give your players a few more turns and push out that change to the world. But hang on, are you sure that's the right thing to do? What if the silent majority of your users actually enjoy the challenge of a more difficult level? And by making it easier, you're going to turn away your most hardcore and potentially
So this is what the Firebase remote config is. So and the next thing is dynamic links. So dynamic links, as I said, if there is a YouTube link, the application can easily know what link is. So see, send users to the right place in your whether or not it is installed. So if you have an image like, for example, let's take Flipkart or Amazon as an example. In Flipkart or Amazon, we can press, if I press invite link, it immediately goes to the invite page of that application. If I press a product link, it goes to the product page of that application. So that is the same link, but same application, but the link itself transfers the user to some other pages. So that can be easily made by using this dynamic links option. So next is AdMob. So by using AdMob, we can make our application, we can monetize our application by showing some ads from Google advertisers. So this is what AdMob and Firebase does. So next, let us see how can we simply integrate. For example, let me show an example of how Firebase can be integrated into our application. So this is a sample application that how can we use Firebase in our application. This is a simple web application. So in this web application, see, I have logged in. So if I this is the home page. If I press RSVP as we are doing to log into our session, right? So if I press RVSP and if I enter the email address, for example, if I enter my email address and press next, and I'll be asked to enter the password. Let me enter the password, and if I press sign in, so that's it. I have been signed in into our application. So I can see I have these messages I have posted in this discussion. Let me also chat with Flutter Festival is going on. So if I press send, see, I have another message, Flutter Festival is going on. So let me show you how these are reflected in our database. So this is our console. So this is the thing I have created before. So in this Firebase database, you can see the changes that I have made, like guest book. In this guest book, I can see the name and the text what I have posted and the timestamp when I have posted and the ID of the current user, and the second message, Flutter Festival is going on, that I have posted just now. It is a kind of string. You can also specify the data type of the message and the user ID and timestamp. So this is the thing. So this is how the Firebase Firestore works. And in authentication, I have authenticated, right? So this is the user, this is my email address, and this is the user ID, which will be unique for each user. And by using what kind of authentication system I have logged in is by using email. See, in this I have enabled email or password option here, so that I'll be able to log in into my accounts by using my email password. You can also permit the user one account per email address. So you can also make the user to create some more accounts by using your single email address by changing these settings. So this is how it works. So for using this Firebase into our Flutter application, so we need to add some plugins. So we need to add some plugins into our application, Flutter application, so that we can able to create. We can able to integrate Firebase into our application. So let me show you what are the plugins are. Let me go to PubDev. So in that I can simply go to Firebase. See if this is the thing, firebase.google.com. You can see Firebase dynamic links option there. In that Firebase dynamic links, this is the thing, and we have a lot number of plugins packages here. For Firebase authentication, we use Firebase Auth, and for Firebase messaging, we use Firebase messaging. And Firebase core is the basic and needed, what to say, it is a initialization setup using Firebase core. After using the without using Firebase core, we cannot use any other like packages. And Cloudfire for Firestore, and Fire Storage for Firebase storage, and Firebase Analytics, Firebase Crashlytics, Firebase Remote Config, Cloud Functions. So all those packages are available in pub.dev package manager. So for initializing, for using these things, there is a website called Flutter Fire. Can see Flutter Fire there. In Flutter Fire, you can see how to get started with Flutter and Firebase, and how can we use those things in our applications. How can we add Google Firebase, Firestore, and Analytics and AppCheck and whatever things into our applications are available in this documentation. And there is a code lab for you to work out. So this is the code lab. So this is a code lab that you can be able to practice how to simply create. So this is the output what I have shown now. So by using this code lab, you can see the step-by-step working out of how can we create a simple authentication application. This is the application what we seen just now. So and if you press next, you can see the next step for creating things. So this is a simple code lab which will be easier for you to learn. So I think that's all for this session. If you have any doubt, do post in the comment box. So if possible, I can reply to your chat. So that's all for now. Thank you for joining in the session.